Thanks, buddy. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Kevin, you may want to mute sometimes. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wyrd Wyld session 66. Nope, I still hear my echo.
Oh, gross.
Testing, testing. Who's that coming from?
Not it.
Hello, hello, hello.
Test?
Did you still hear it just then, or?
No.
Oh.
Testing, testing. Now I don't hear it anymore. Hello, everybody. Welcome to session 66 of Wyrd and Wyld. Insurmountable is the episode title. We're all wearing hats, most of us. The frames for all of our players are going to be a little off, only because we're missing Luke/Aesop this session, but we hope he has fun at a Halloween party. In the meantime, thank you all of my players for joining me this fine evening. I am Jaso the DM. Who else is joining me this Friday night? Bay, you're on mute.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bailey. I'll be playing Glossalor. She is an Eidolon College of Glamour bard, and I think I am also going to be playing Aesop, the alchemist Kinku that Luke usually plays.
We still got some echoing going on. Testing, testing. Okay, it's gone. Anyways, who else?
What's up? My name is Sun Kong. My name is Kevin. I play Sun Kong. Becoming one thing now. I am your apeling bianoid monk, following the way of the abundant spirit.
My name's Slim, or Brian, or whatever you want to call me. I'll be playing Rincaz, lizard folk fighter, the martial archetype of the gunslinger.
I'm Kyle, playing Firbolg, arcane tricksters that have reskinned to be a tech wizard extraordinaire.
Ooh.
Hi everybody, I'm Nick. I play Nvidi, a half-elf celestial warlock, Pact of the Tome, and I have the most phenomenal familiar of all time, a pseudo-dragon named Jira.
I tip my hat to you all. Thank you for raiding us, husband/Slim/Brian. It's very nice of you. Hello, everybody in the chat. What's up, League of Explorers? Speaking of thanks again to League of Explorers for following us and hanging out a little bit. It's very nice of him. Also, thank you, Bay, for resubbing. That was nice of you. I appreciate that. And thank you, everybody else, for stopping by who's in the chat. Let's get this Steam shit out of the way so I can read off who's here. Let's see. Thank you, Looney, our VIP, of course. Thank you, Ken Sparkle, Electrical Longboard, maybe a bot, I don't know. And T-Bird for popping in and hanging out with us. And Husband and Wife Stream, of course. I really appreciate that. Hey, you guys, those of you who are joining us tonight, as you are watching, as you are maybe following, maybe subbing, if you like the content, you are getting both loyalty points through Streamlabs, as well as our sort of experimental phase of the Twitch channel points. So we're going to slowly be transitioning over to the Twitch points for the extended period going forward. But for now, because people have accrued some weird bits or /loyalty points in Streamlabs, we're going to kind of let them keep them and use them, and slowly let some people build up some channel points before fully transitioning over and getting rid of the Streamlabs point system. So until then, everything works. You can buy all kinds of cool stuff. If you take a look at the panels below on our Twitch page, you can buy cool stuff like inspiration, weird bit packages for the players to use for coin, or rooms on their ship that they can build. If you get enough points, you can even name an NPC. There's also some extra cool rewards that I've started to build over on the channel point side. If you want to just look at the bottom left of the chat, you can pop that open and take a look and see what's there. And there's some cool stuff. So take a look at that. For those of you who prefer to use the Streamlabs, or not Streamlabs, but the Stream Avatar extension on your mobile device and stuff like that, just click that link that I posted in the chat. You can control your characters at the bottom of the screen that you can buy on the panel below, And speaking of these stream avatars that you're seeing hanging out down there, you guys next week, because we're having our Halloween spooktacular episode, all of the spooky characters that's part of the stream avatars, like the ghost, the skeleton, etc., those are all going to be half off. So whatever points they are now, they'll be half off. So stop by during that time and grab them while they are at a discounted amount and walk around as a spooky avatar punching people in the face and farting. I mentioned last week that I'm going to be giving digital gift cards out this week, but I'm going to save it, even though I try to do it at the end of the month, and technically next week on Friday it'll be the first of the month. I'm still going to save it since that'll be the fun sort of Halloween episode, and we'll be giving away a digital gift
100
card.
bonus 10, get it, folks.
Oh, thank you very much, League of Explorers. That's very nice of you. Yes, digital gift cards, $10 Steam card or $10 DM skill, whichever you prefer. If you're more of a gamer, more of a TTRPG player, there's definitely cool stuff. There will be a question that's asked on my Twitter left open for you to DM me the answer within a week. And those of you who guess right will be entered into a raffle that I'll draw, and whoever the winner is will get it. No one's done it yet. No one's gotten just a free $10 thing. So if you're around and you want to play and you're not one of the people actually playing my stream, so... and the players, I'm sorry, you guys are unqualified. But you get the reward and the experience of playing the actual game with me. So, anyways, that's all of my table dressing crap. So, in the meantime, I appreciate everybody stopping by. For now, though, let's jump right in. And before we fully jump in, I'm going to hand out some inspiration. You guys made some use of it again last week, which was good. So those of you who don't have a card, go ahead and draw one of those.
Our good boy cards, they evaporate between sessions, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So I'm going to take that good boy card away from... Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. All right, everybody got their cards. If you guys want to trade, now's the time to do it. Oh, and another good boy card. Thank you. I'll take that too. If everyone's happy with their cards, then we can just move on and you guys can roll to see who wants to give the recap from last week.
Did I do it I think I did it last week. I can't remember.
I believe you did. No one else is speaking up, so we're going to say you did and you're immune.
I did not give it last week, so...
Alright.
And I'm not giving it this week.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
Love you, buddy.
From the perspective of the guy that almost died, here's the recap.
We cannot hear you, Bay.
So yeah, fight started, but I don't know how it ended because I had to leave early, unfortunately.
Tess.
Now we
There you
can.
are.
I don't know. I didn't watch. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The fight with the scro continued with Sun Kong having been brought back to consciousness from Aesop leaping over to quickly pour a potion of healing down his gullet. In doing so, the sort of piece that Glace was attempting to do in terms of, at the very least, giving up their weapons and surrendering so that none of the rest of the party will be hurt from this group of scro was sort of pushed to the side with this act, and the fighting continued. Glace, do you remember the last bit of what happened?
Let's see. We ended up. Yeah, we killed everyone. And then we talked to the firbolg. And he was informing us about the scro and how this isn't. There's a lot of them, and it's not just another camp. It's like an actual base full of them.
An army.
An army, yes, an army. And well, I think we left off going in the direction, or just maybe we were discussing what we could do.
The firbolg who uses the mounts here and knows the various trails that lead to and fro on these trade routes, even outside of the tangled timber forest where Thornweald is located. He knows the areas around here, and because of that, he was, before heading off to the edge of the forest itself, after grabbing some supplies from this area that you guys had cleared out, this scro camp, the smaller scro camp, he at least mentioned to you guys that heading up north with this subtle trail that leads up to the area where this large encampment is, that there is a small path about in between this smaller encampment that you guys were currently at and the larger one up north at the summit of this scrap peak, that if you wind off the trail to the right a little ways, that there was a small cave off the beaten path that is not very large. It descends a few feet, but is not terribly big and is not incredibly noticeable, and would at the very least provide you guys an opportunity to head off the beaten path and do a little bit of recovery hiding out in this cave so that you guys can get your long rest. So
yeah.
Yes, you guys had ended up in that cave. What were you going to say, Brian?
Also, we found out that the scro camp isn't what we thought it was. We didn't think it was, much bigger than this one, but he said it was, like 10 or 15 times the size of this one. There could be more than 100 scro or something like that are inside of it. The one that we're heading.
Yeah, like an army.
That's correct. Intel is scarce, and hopefully, provided maybe you guys could do some scouting, it's up to you. But yes, from what the firbolg and probably some of the people like the chieftain back at the actual Thornweald village had mentioned, is that this encampment is relatively large. So with that, you guys headed over to this cave. Now, you all headed there, and with a little bit of ingenious thinking between Aesop and a couple members of the party, and Vidi and his partner Fraxinus, using a bit of magic and nature magic to try and do their best to cover the entrance. A spread of both magically enhanced grass and vines sort of covered the entrance a little bit. Enough for you guys to still see out, but probably a decent amount that with the help of you guys camouflaging it, those passing by on horseback without taking a relatively measured look around would not notice this here. So with that, you guys hunkered down. The air wafts in here from outside, pushing through some of the camouflage, and the way it rebounds at the back of the cave here, it's relatively cool on your skin. The area out here is very bright and relatively open in a valley-like manner, as I said, with sparse trees that litter the area. It makes visibility a little difficult, hard further out the way you look, because the trees do eventually sort of clump together looking out too far. But the general mile or so that you have of visibility is pretty open to view. It's not really warm here. There is a wet smell to the air, as well as a fungal smell from some of the mushrooms you see growing here. A plink of water drops from one of the, is it stalactites or stalagmites when they're on the ceiling?
Tights.
Stalactites on the ceiling, but it's relatively quiet. You guys all climb off of your mounts tired. Some of you mending some wounds, others of you just completely exhausted from the practically 24 plus hours that you've been awake now. It's not exactly incredibly comfortable in this cave, but you take out the blankets and stuff and things, the bedrolls in your packs that you can, and try to make it as comfortable as possible. You hear the soft wind outside and little else. Your mounts, as you look, see that they are naturally all getting onto their stomachs. One of these squirrels, Glace, yours, and Foz, scratching its back as it just sort of lays around. And especially the treetop megatherium crawling towards the darker end of the cave, that stretches out 30 or so feet in, crawls back to where there's the least amount of light, and you watch as they relatively quickly fall asleep. They've had a long trek taking you guys out here. Your eyes feel heavy, and you feel as though a long rest is well deserved. Is there anything you guys would like to do before or during your long rest?
Oh boy. Can we try to contact the... at least let somebody know we're here. Can we contact first Kui and then Pioneer Patrollers?
You fish out the crystal communicator from your pack and hold it up to contact Kui. Hello? Glace, is this you?
Yes, darling. Are you doing well? Is the ship okay? Have you blinked out of existence at all?
I think I did once, but Navigator said it wasn't for long. He does mention that it's been over a day now. Maybe even 2, and it seems like you guys haven't gone back. You're all okay, right?
We're in the middle of a jungle full of thorns and going towards an army of scro.
Oh, okay. Well, the survey crew with Inoki and the rest are back. I was able to get Navigator to point out that they were outside and was able to teleport them in, but we're still sort of grounded here with all of these large, thick vines encircling the ship. We're okay, though. Nothing's happened.
Well, I don't think will be much longer, being that... I hope we don't go charging into this place, guns ablazing. I look at Rincaz. Just wanted to double check on you and, give you an update of where we are.
Okay, great. I think things are good here. You know us. We have food and everything else that we need. I'm worried about you all, of course, but you've left the ship for days before and seem fine. Mm-hmm. Navigator says he's not exactly used to not being able to hover safely in the air, slightly out of orbit, or sometimes in a safe place. But ever since the vines grabbed onto the ship, they haven't moved. There was a period early on where they seemed to shiver a bit, and Navigator mentioned that the ship shook, at least on the outside. We can't feel it on the inside, of course, because we're in a different plane within here. But other than that, things have been relatively quiet.
Well, that's good. Does anybody have anything to add before we end this call?
Everyone's okay from the away trip.
What was that?
From the away trip, is everyone okay? Did everyone make it back all right? No injuries, no nothing?
The dingus.
Some of them have a couple nicks and bruises. From what it seems like, some of the chatter among the crew, it seems like Kriv may have unintentionally started a little trouble while out there.
Oh. Which one's that, the Dragonborn?
Yeah, the Dragonborn that you guys hired.
The one that Hush knocked out and that was supposed to protect.
Yes, that one.
Oh, okay, alright.
But they also were able to bring back some supplies. There's quite a lot. Of course, we could go over that once you get back. As long as you guys have a game plan out there, just plan out your next moves, and hopefully you'll be able to return in the next day or 2?
Yeah, that sounds about hopefully right. I don't want to be out here anymore, and a day or 2 sounds wonderful.
Okay, great. Well, if it takes longer, we're here. I'll keep an eye out for you as much as I can with this issue going on.
All right. Be safe.
You too.
Bye.
And she's gone.
All right. Now, you know what? Maybe we should. No. Let's call the Pioneer Patrollers now. Yeah, let's go ahead and dial them now.
You hold the 20-sided die-shaped object in hand. Its color is a opaque, sometimes milkyish white. You focus in on the Pioneer Patrollers, specifically your representative to them, Pioneer Patroller Alec.
Oh, Alec, yes.
You wait for what feels like a full minute, and you begin to think that no one is going to answer when you hear his familiar voice on the other end. Yes, is this the Wyld Tycoons?
Alec, darling! It's us! Yes.
Yes, good to speak with you again. You bring me news.
Yes, we are on Thornweald. And get this, honey.
That's the cradle on the area on the cradle, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
As I was saying, there's like this army, right, of scro. And they are enslaving people here, and we took out a camp and might be finding out more information about their settlement, their base.
Yes, the scro are only part of the 3 that make up the Dark Trine, and their forces are lethal both on ground as well as in the wild space in between the planetoids. Be careful on your hunts out there.
Do you have any advice on what we should expect? Maybe defense-wise? We will hopefully just go in stealthily and get information and come back out.
We have been doing our best to quell the scro forces in wild space itself. They most assuredly must set up camps on groundling areas and planetoids for supplies. As far as I'm aware, there are some camps and settlements on the cradle, as there is an abundance of natural resources out there, plenty of wood and probably ores, as well as some precious metals I'm sure that they can gather from the more mountainous regions. I would be careful. Many of the larger encampments have anti-spelljammer weaponry, usually at the forefront of these camps. On top of that, these scro are out of the 3 of the Dark Trine, between the Vodani and the Neogi. These scro seem to be the most organized. They will certainly be keeping their eyes open and will be thinking 2 steps ahead. Be aware of that. Most of their forces are in wild space itself. They are not a xenophobic race per se, though they do believe that wild space belongs to them. Their purpose may be to assist the others of the Dark Trine. However, their true goal, scro themselves, is to free wild space, to render everyone traveling between planets restricted and having to stay on ground, essentially becoming groundlings. They want to rule wild space. Thus, the majority of their forces are found moving to and fro. I'm not even sure if they have themselves a home planet they call home. Though certainly, as you've probably seen on your travels, there is plenty of camps that they have set up along the way. I'm sure that the Celestial Cradle is a prime area for them to do so here.
Oh boy. Rincaz, you seem to have history of sorts here. Do you have maybe any leads or memories that you think Alec might know about?
Not much I can say other than he probably knows more than me. I mean, Udok's pretty much our target. If you have anything new on him, I'd like to know.
Udok, who was this individual? Is this a scro?
Yes, he was one of their leaders. He was the one who headed up the slave camps. He was the one who, well, the leader of sorts. He would go in and capture everybody and kind of, General Udok.
So a higher ranking member of the scro forces, then.
Correct.
And the area that he was carrying this infamy, are you familiar with this? Would that be in this cradle area that you're at? Or somewhere else?
Well, not here per se, not of what I know, but I know that we had a lead that he would be here. Where he
I
led
see.
was a little bit outside of maybe the outer edges of the Twixt.
I see. So he is potentially relocated then.
Perhaps.
Very well. We received reports quite a while back, or very while back, about a large spelljammer-like entity crashing somewhere on the cradle. However, we've had little time to inspect this. Perhaps you will turn something up about this, Alec. Your relationship to him, were you a slave of his at some point?
Udok? Yeah. That was long ago, though.
I see. Well, my best advice would be to tread carefully. These
Yes, you
scro
should.
are organized, and it is difficult to break into some of their larger enforced migratory areas.
Wait. I'm sorry, can you repeat that? What was the advice?
To tread carefully. These scro are not simpletons. They are extremely organized, and they live for war. If you are trying to gather information from one of the larger camps, expect it to be heavily defended. On top of that, heavily populated. I would probably gather intel for now.
Oh, man.
Telling me you can't send a ship in here and bomb the crap out of them.
Oh, that's probably...
There are many logistics to that, Rincaz, that one must consider. For us to bomb the encampment, even if it was not already heavily defended with anti-spelljammer weaponry, would mean the death of whatever prisoners they hold within. There has always been a possibility in severely crippling the scroll forces, despite the fact that there may be some casualties. A certain weapon that we could use against them that would most certainly dwindle their numbers, especially in wild space. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I don't like this idea. I don't know where we really fit out for this.
What?
Just keep in mind our decision on what to do with the remaining Witchlight Marauder is beginning to dawn. We will contact you, as I mentioned, when the time is right, but please consider that the use of such a force for the means of tackling the Dark Trine would mean severely reducing the amount of casualties that my forces have to endure. You bringing me this information, I hope that you consider that this is something I deal with on a daily basis. The amount of forces that we deal with is crippling sometimes to think about. You also must remember that the patrollers, we are not a military force. We are a largely exploratory one. Of course, yes, it makes sense that as an exploratory one, we need the proper weaponry to defend ourselves as we are covering new ground and exploring new areas. But we are not meant to conquer, simply to explore. We have been thrust into this, fighting off this Dark Trine, but we are no galaxy police. I'm stretched thin as it is, and if it makes sense for you all, now seeing firsthand the dangers that these scro pose in their numbers, to use a weapon like the Witchlight Marauder to help severely reduce their numbers would mean saving a lot of my men's lives and having to continue battling them.
Yeah, we're still thinking about it.
Something to consider.
Okay.
In the meantime, did you have anything else for me?
No. If you don't hear from us in a week, we're all probably dead.
I will keep this in mind. I do wish you the best of luck. Keep safe out there. You Wildknots are a plucky sort. You seem to find your ways out of very dangerous situations. I cannot lie. I may have watched a Wyrd and Wyld recording once or twice before. I know of your prowess, and I've seen firsthand you take down that Terras creature. If there's anyone who can gather intel from an encampment, despite its size, it is more than likely you all. However, just be careful. I must contend to my papers here, he says, and you hear the shuffling of papers. If there is nothing else, I must go.
No, goodbye.
Very well. Call me if you need anything else, and I will do what I can to provide assistance. Alec out. And his voice drops from the communicator.
Kill our friend, do nothing else for us, be useless. Yeah.
You know,
What a waste of time he.
if anything, Rincaz, if we get out of this alive and don't become slaves, I think, since there's no, galaxy police thing, it used to be your old job, why don't you just, I don't know, try to start one of those up again? That'd be nice.
Now, let me tell you a little story. Which one of you would you say is the leader in our little group?
Oh,
not
definitely Fa.
I point at Aesop.
Fall
I
looks
looked
up
at-
from her Game Boy.
I look over at Aesop and say, you know that what Udok does when he finds a new group of people that he's going to add to his collection? No, I don't.
No,
I'm just a
I have
stupid
no
bird.
idea what you're talking about.
He finds the leader of a group, puts them in front of everybody, cuts their face off, and then wears it like a mask. It's kind of a constant reminder of who was in charge and now is in charge.
Holy shit.
It's man.
Yeah, let's just say when he ran into me and my friends that one of the old lizard folk elders, they didn't last very long.
Okay, well, let's definitely not plan to fight. How about that? That's the first plan, is don't fight.
No fight! Ogre Mush speaks up.
The
No,
last
no,
fight
no.
went so well.
Oh, he doesn't fight. No. He never fights. Everyone else usually does. He just kind of runs things. Not many people stand up to him, anyways. I didn't either. We were outnumbered. They came and caught us, but
Ogre Mush want to smash scro.
No, honey, no.
I'm with Ogre Mush.
Well, wanting and doing. We gotta. Oh, I can hear myself.
Testing. Okay.
Alright, sorry. We just have to draw a fine line of what we want to do and what we should do so we don't get caught.
Ogre Mush people, other orcs, all ruled over vast land here on Cradle. Broker peace deal with goblins. All got together, signed treaty. Fighting breakout. Me think me see other people there at table. But we ultimately make peace.
Oh no!
Month later, scro come in. Capture most of us, kill some of us. Take land. Ogre must make it out with who else was left alive. Now Ogre must want to make money to help find them another place. But Ogre must also want revenge, Like Rincaz, he says, pointing over at you with a green finger.
Yes, revenge.
We kill a few, scro, he says, holding 2 fingers up.
No.
He smashes his large club onto the ground.
Well, we did kill a few already. Look at it this way. If we can find out more, maybe take out those anti-spell chamber batteries or whatever, and, open the door a little bit. If General Useless doesn't want to do anything, maybe we can find something fun to send their way. I mean...
We kill General Rincaz.
Maybe. Our lives are a little more important than just taking him out. But, not to sound like the bad guy here, but taking out this group and maybe a few helpless bystanders prevents more and more helpless bystanders. I'm not saying that we should let this place get devoured, but if it's an option, the stopping him would stop a lot more. Yeah, there's always that so-and-so who begot so-and-so. Goblin politics, whoever's standing on top of the pile at the end. But taking out Udok probably leave quite a blow to them.
Well, let's plan for that for the future and get as much information to set us up for that so we don't immediately get caught. I mean, I think this group is great, honey. We have done amazing things, but
You hear Azru laugh. He seems to be eating something. It looks kind of furry, but it's a little dark back where he's sitting with his back against a rock. It smells very bad from back there. He's grabbing it with 2 hairy hands and throws his mouth into it.
Azru, buddy, what you eating?
Squirrel.
Not our squirrels.
No.
Okay.
I don't even think we can do this successfully, stealthily at all.
They saw our invisible flying bird, so...
Oh, did they?
Only after he revealed himself.
Oh,
Bad stitches.
don't call me that. Okay, so maybe we send, since Aesop is able to fly, and we can make him invisible. Maybe we can have him scout again, and at least get a bird's eye view on what we will be dealing with.
I fully agree. In the back of my head, all I could think was, Luke, how'd Aesop die? I don't know, you sent him into a scro camp.
Well, no, he's not gonna go in, he's just gonna look around. Surround it. Look for the defenses and offenses. And
Drop a few firebombs.
No, none of that. Hopefully. So I think that's the plan. Unless somebody has anything to add to it. I am certainly not an expert on this.
Hey, Ogre Mush. Do your friends still live on Thornweald?
Yeah.
You and the goblins?
Some goblin, some orc, whoever's left.
And they really don't like scro, right?
Scro take our land. We kill Scro.
What would you need to know about the base for your friends?
Friends low in number. Like you all. Just not stupid enough to try to take on camp. But you pay Ogre Mush. Ogre Mush go with you.
Is there any way that it would help you to know where they're at or what they have? Just to stay away from them, maybe?
Ogre must see it like this. You weird people. Strongest Ogremush has seen in a long time. Ogremush not want to see what makes camp. Ogremush want to help you all crush camp.
Okay.
Can you think of any, like, other local tribes that'd be upset? Maybe we could form some sort of, like, coalition, and everybody can attack at the same time, like, from all over the place, and then we can get in, get out, and do our thing.
Ogremush scratches his head, and Fraxinus, can you understand Sylvan Fa?
I don't think so. No.
I have comprehend language.
Fraxinus turns to you and Vidi and says, "Tell him that the scro have been smart. They've been capitalizing on the trade routes. The areas and settlements here on the cradle are spread out in spars. They can defend themselves rather readily, but trying to create a force that not only matches the size of the scro, but is as smart as them is much more difficult. Otherwise, we would have already enacted that already. Hell, Thornweald is the largest of the bunch, and even they are running low on those to send out and try and tackle the scro from further enlarging their area of interest."
Okay, so Aesop flies around invisible and we don't do anything. We just get information. How about that?
I think that's all we can do.
It's a good way to start.
We definitely have to help these people at some point.
Yeah.
Alright, Aesop is fading and is invisible.
Well, hang on just a second.
Oh.
You guys have had this conversation. It hasn't taken long, but you still haven't taken your long rest yet.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Well,
Is anybody really hurt or injured?
My leg has felt better.
Oh, it's backwards. Oh, God.
Oh,
Yeah,
Aesop's... Oh, go ahead.
it's not supposed to look like that for sure.
I don't think so.
Does it hurt when I push this?
Can I try to heal Sun Kong's injury?
I think you did last session, I'm pretty sure.
Alright.
Also, is there a way, Sun Kong, for you to go like push to talk? Would that help? Because we're all echoing.
It's the cave ambience. That's all we're trying to roleplay here.
I don't. Okay, sorry.
That's all right. It just kind of I know it throws me off when I'm trying to talk. I think, Sun Kong, your wounds were healed last session. You got at least 20 points. I think that was from Aesop feeding him the potions or something. There's still a bruise where you had that nasty infliction that happened on your left leg, and it's still a little sore, but in terms of like HP, hit point damage, you're fine.
Oh, cool.
Ukog asks you if you're all right and just says to be careful out there and that everyone should get some rest for now. She also mentions that it might not be a bad idea to set up a watch.
Yeah. And
I'll have like an alarm or something.
Yeah.
I can watch at some. I only need 4 hours of rest. It acts like 8 hours for me, so I can stand watch for like 4 hours, either up front or in the back. Whatever you guys want.
Does anybody else have a short sleep cycle? Because I don't.
No.
don't, but I'm willing to do it.
You guys see Aesop like sleeping in the corner.
Yeah, Aesop ready with the bed.
You sleep in bed.
I need my full 8 hours.
Before I'll do short rest and cover the other half. Before I do though, can I
You guys
detect magic
you
and
guys
just make sure.
with a party of 6, as long as you have your companions, but you guys are the 6 main people, so you would be the ones doing the shifts for the watch. Between the 6 of you, as long as you guys are doing intervals of like 30 minutes or something like that, or even an hour, pushing it out to an hour, I'll still say that as long as you're not doing anything extremely excessive, you'll still get your long rest in. So you guys can all take part in this if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Can I just?
guess.
Because
Like
a long
detect magic
rest
and
doesn't
group.
mean you have to like sleep for the 8 hours. It just means you're not doing
Fair
anything
enough.
incredibly intensive. So if you're just sitting, kind of keeping an eye outside while also just kind of posting up against a rock and trying to relax, you'll still get your rest in. So it just comes down to you guys how you want to set that up and who goes out first.
All right. I guess I'll take first watch. I gotta reload all my gadgets, anyways.
I'll take the first 4 hours with 1 or 2 other people, whatever.
Okay. Sun Kong and Fa, you guys sort of head up to the front. You have a decent amount of visibility because, again, it's more difficult to see passing by this subtle dirt trail outside that led you over here, but looking from within out is much easier. And you guys post up and spend, let's say, the first. How long do you want to post up for?
I'm good for 4 hours.
Okay, first 4 hours, all right. You and Fa just maintaining a certain level of relaxation, but also being relatively alert and keeping an eye outside. Both of you give me some type of roll. It could be perception. It could be other stuff if you want.
Blue.
Just perception for me. Ooh,
Yeah, I'll just do perception.
there you go.
Total 20s. Oh. Well, I mean, totals to a 20.
I mean, we got an unnatural 20 or a dirty 20, as I heard them say on Twitter, and a natty 20 from Sun Kong. Between the two of you, you guys are being extremely alert. Sun Kong, you remember in that last battle that you were knocked unconscious by the flat head of a warhammer that felt like it was nearly cracking into your bones. So that idea plays through your mind and you stay extra vigilant. Both of you, between the two of you during this first 4 hours, you're able to pick up the sound not close to you, but probably on the primary path, the one that is not this divergence out to this area here, but the actual path that was heading north from the smaller camp you came from to this larger one up ahead.
Right.
You hear what sounds like the beating hooves of horses. With your natural 20, Sun Kong, you get the sense that there is probably anywhere from 6 to 10 horses, and it sounds like they are riding south.
Can I activate Houdini and send him to go scope out for us?
Ooh, Houdini.
Sure, what's the range on Houdini?
Oh, it's like 100 feet.
Okay, so he is able to leave out from the entrance of the cave and we'll say flies a little bit from the divergent path, a little bit towards the main dirt trail, but more importantly just picks up some altitude so that he can get a good view of the area around here. The sparse trees are around and he is able to scope out almost the small pluming smoke of the fire that came from the area where you guys visited, probably from the carts that Aesop set on fire. He also notices, well, make a perception check for him.
Is this going to be a hearing or sight perception check?
This is I'll take either one, hearing or sight, to
Okay.
locate where this is coming from.
This has got advantage on either
All right.
of those.
Okay, good.
So +3. Oh,
Oh, wow, nice.
23.
Do we
on it.
should I have gotten a good boy card?
Yes.
Oh.
Technically, both of you should have here. Hang on a second.
Good boy card.
Take your good boy cards.
Yeah.
Houdini, keeping some altitude, probably like we'll say 60 or so feet off the ground to just get a good overview of the area, is able to notice the dark mane of 11 horses riding south, keeping in close formation to one another. Noticing all on the tops of them scro riders. You see 4 scro female, one that looks like the shaman's scro that seemed a bit more beefier and difficult to take out, and the rest are the other well-armored male scro that are riding down south. You notice as they are riding south that a few in the back have what look to be some type of what's the, like a extending telescope type of thing, and are holding it to their eyes as they're riding on their horses, peering around through the air.
Okay. I'll have him sit in a tree for a while. Because I have, like, these goggles that see through his sight, so I can sit there and actually dictate what's happening. I can use it since on my turn.
Okay, fair enough. This happens probably like, we'll say an hour in. Another hour passes. You hear the noise just using your connection to Houdini, and with your natural 20, you're able to keep a bead on your bird ascends again, hearing the beating of hooves, and you're able to see 5 riders heading back north. They stop for a second where the path diverges, heading out this way, and it looks as though they're probably having some type of conversation. Each of their horses stops and sort of gathers in this encircled collection. 5 minutes pass by, and they all begin riding north again. You watch them as far as you can until the point where the sparseness of the trees builds up, and it's a bit difficult to see where they're going. Although extending your vision out north, following the trail where they disappeared into the trees, you do see, as I've been mentioning before, these similar plumes of smoke in the distance with what you can assume is the larger camp north at the summit of what looks like a large mountainous range that begins close to it. Pieces and debris of what look like large deposited pieces of metal sort of are just thrown about this area. The sound of the hooves dissipate, and it's quiet again.
So we watched a group of 11 go south, and then only 5 return? Is that what you were saying?
That's correct.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Do you think they restocked that camp that we took out?
Well, we killed, if I remember correctly, there were 11 people back at the other camp, so I don't think they fully refilled them. But why would they send out the... You said it was the chieftain's wife?
No, it was a handful of scro female, a large number of a well-armored male scro, and then what looked to be one of those sort of less armored, but similarly rather imposingly tall scro that what little he was wearing gave you the impression of a shamanistic, or at least the idea that he is magically inclined, the type of wear he has. Similar to the one that brought Sun Kong down in unconsciousness with his warhammer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think you're right. They resupplied the camp down there. I guess they didn't find anything. They stopped up the way there. Maybe we should investigate and see what's up there. What they stopped for.
Do you think they could have... Were we leaving tracks?
Was it where we took off from the trail, or...?
It was at the fork, where this trail that goes north and south there is a diverging path. It's pretty subtle. It's just barely made out with enough people passing on it that it is a very light dirt path that led over to this cave. But they did stop at that fork where it diverges out to come over to this cave and seem to huddle up on top of their mounted on their horses and have some type of conversation, what you assume.
Well, either they didn't see us or they're going to come back in force because they didn't think they could take us. But I feel like Scroll feel like they... it seems like they should be too arrogant to think that they needed more people. So we're probably safe.
Oh no. Well, no, they are smart though, aren't they?
Well,
Okay.
That's what the guy said.
How about this? We get Aesop out. Thought you have the clairvoyant eye that goes to this one. We give him that so we can, see what he sees, and we get out of here as fast as possible. So if they come back, we're not going to be in this cave where they can ambush us.
that's a good point. We should definitely move from where we are.
Mm-hmm.
After my nap, though, this is not fair.
The rest of Fa, Yor, and Sun Khan's watch passes. There is no other sound of movements. You guys keep a sharp ear out, though, both with your natty 20s, and hear nothing else of note. Who's going for the second shift? If anyone.
I got it.
Will. Oh, go ahead. Good night.
NVD, you step over, taking place of Fa and Sun Khan, looking back for Glossia to join you, and she is sleeping. You sit somewhere, I'm assuming, and take up post. Give me some type of check over this 4-hour period.
And I do a perception check. 16.
You hear the rustling of wind through the nearby trees. You feel the cold air buffet you from pushing through the vine work that slowly pushes in as it blows around. The sun is bright outside. Nothing happens. The rest of the 8 hours finish up. Everyone begins to stir a bit coming back. You guys can... I think everyone's pretty much healed and good to go. It seems the wounds that Ogremush had incurred from trying to protect you, Sun Kong, he is attended to with this extended period of rest. You watch as the two Glymera stretch out their front appendages, the gliding skin underneath stretching out. You see them do a big yawn, their two buck teeth at the front pushing out as they do it. The giant chameleon similarly does the same thing. You see his long wrapped up tongue almost fall out of his mouth before he pulls it back in. NVD, the treetop megatherium has not woke up yet.
Oh, Mr. Hugs is tired.
How
Hey,
long does
Mr. Hugs. It's time to go.
Is it smart to wake it up? I mean, does it get aggressive?
Can I kind of like pantomime the Fraxinus? Like,
Oh, I just tell
point
them.
at it. Oh, well, I'll still do it anyway because I don't just like make like sleeping and then like point at him and then just kind of motion that we have to get up and go.
She looks at you and shrugs.
15 animal handling to try to coax it to get up.
All right, Sun Kong, what do you do to try and coax it to get up as you walk over and make this check?
Maybe I just I'm gonna try to like see if it'll let me pet it, and like just talk slowly and be like, "Come on, we gotta go."
You head over and try to lightly, but kind of firmly to pull it from its slumber. Give it a just soft brush with your hand across its back. It begins to stir a bit, and it begins to reach one of its arms around your waist to pull you in closer.
No.
Song Kong, Miss, you can't get hugs from Mr. Hugs.
Am I able to like try to get not be hugged?
Make a dexterity saving throw. It's moving pretty slowly, but it is large. This large arm that has slowly wrapped behind you.
Rip.
Whew.
28.
You feel the impression of this furry, big arm wrapping around your back, and you do like a athletic backflip out of it. The arm pulls close to the treetop megatherium as it goes to scratch at its side. You can hear the sound of the nails brushing up against its skin. It shifts around on its back. You see its eyes slowly begin to open. It goes to scratch its belly again. And then slowly, over what you feel like is a full minute, it rolls back onto its stomach and lifts its head and begins to sniff the air. It has woken up.
Oh, Mr. Hugs, you're hungry for breakfast. Here's some breakfast, Mr. Hugs.
You feel the staining of saliva slap against your hand as it laps up your rations from your bag for it.
Oh, should we I guess we should. You feed ours, Fa. Oh, Fa went to get some food, so
I will feed mine as well.
All right. Your mounts eagerly dive into the rations that you give it, having spent quite a while traversing with all of you on top through the tangle timber and bringing you to this point. They're well rested, and now you have them well fed. They seem eager to push forward whenever you are ready.
okay. Let's get Aesop ready, prepped, and that clairvoyant eye. Fa has that. I'm assuming she's going to give to Aesop.
Yeah.
And make him invisible. And
Yeah.
give him bardic inspiration just in case of anything. And
Did we agree that guidance or resistance stacks with bardic inspiration?
those are two different.
Mine's a
I know
1d4.
Yeah, guidance stacks with it.
Yes, it's not the same spell, so it would stack.
Okay, I will do. I'll give him a resistance. Just in case.
What does
Okay.
that do?
Spell saves get a d4.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me-
I will put.
For some reason, I don't have a macro for it. I have a macro for the other one, but
Hey, Fa, how long does your invisibility spell last?
A great question. Question that I have an answer to. An answer that is forthcoming. An
oh,
answer that is 1 hour.
Okay.
1 hour.
Aesop, having woken from your slumber well rested, you get ready, heading up to the edge of the cave, peering out and not seeing anyone in particular around here. You just hear the soft rustling of wind and the shifting of grass. It's almost peaceful out here. You have Fa help to turn your form invisible. You look down and see your raven-like claws slowly shift and disappear into nothing. And your form is fully invisible. You also have some other supplementary spells cast on you for extra measure. And with that, you feel as though you are as ready as one could be to potentially scout ahead.
Okay. Aesop says the
You
sooner.
also have the clairvoyant eye.
Yes, Aesop says the sooner we can do this, the sooner we can leave. So he doesn't want to waste time on his invisibility, and he takes flight.
You can do it, Aesop.
Okay, it's not very far to make your way over to where the divergent path leads back to the main path that is heading north. Once you do that, how high up are you flying, Aesop?
Fairly high.
You have your wings. The sky is the limit. I just need to know how high you are.
Let's do. How tall? Well, how tall are the walls?
Maybe he should stay close to the trees if they've got like some anti-spelljammer.
That's actually, yeah. That's
So,
actually a smarter idea.
Relatively low, I suppose.
Okay, he does want to be stealthy, so yeah, that seems something like he would do. Yeah. Let's do that. Thanks, Fa.
Mm-hmm.
Big brain play.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, how high up would you say Aesop is?
He's,
The only thing of note around that seems to lead north are the occasional relatively tall trees that stick up from the ground that reach up to about 10 or 15 feet high. Otherwise, besides the peak in the distance of this mountain range, that seems that it's probably about 3/4 of a mile out north from, if you were to follow this trail. There's not too much out here that you can see without making a check. So with that in mind, how high would you like to stick from the ground?
15 to 20, depending on the
So just at like the treetop, kind of peering over the tree line from what trees are around here then.
Yeah, and he'll keep his eye out. He'll make checks to keep his eye out for anything that he can see in between the trees.
Watchtowers.
Yeah.
Okay. Aesop, not wanting to waste any time with the invisibility spell, you begin accelerating north, keeping your viewpoint just above the tree line.
Oh, and because there is an anti-spell jamming, anti-magic thing, he wants to keep his...
Well, he didn't say anti-magic. He just said
Well-
anti-spelljammer weaponry.
Aesop wants to keep his senses like right about that as well, because that's pretty fucking... I don't know, that's fucky. I don't like that, and yeah, he'll just do checks on like if he feels like looking for fields if he can, like I don't know, anti whatever check he needs to do for that.
That would be, if you're trying to get this sense of like anti-magic fields, that would definitely be an arcana check.
Okay. I'm going to use my...
Need to jot its defenses, yes.
Yes. I'm going to use Roll20 to roll for him. No, it's curse. I'm going to use my purple dice, sorry. I can't do that to him. So, arcana check. It's a total of... Oh, damn! It's going to be 18.
$18 total?
Yes.
You do your best, Aesop, to try and get the sensation of any sense of magical fields as you begin to head north. You're about a quarter way what you feel like would be close to this area where you can see the plumes of smoke lifting from the tree line, which you get the sense is maybe probably some type of fires that are within this encampment up ahead. You don't feel anything. At least of the magical sort.
He will keep on flying.
You press on. You're about halfway, maybe a little bit more, closing in on the smoky plumage from the trees.
Do you want a perception check from him as well?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check at this point.
That's a natty. That's a natty 20.
With a natty 20, again, with you just at the top of these trees, they're sparse. It's not like a forest around here. It's relatively open. But the longer you look towards the horizon, obviously the sparse trees begin to clutter up a little bit because of your view. And it makes things a little difficult to see down the ways. However, with your natural 20 check, and let me also give you a good person card, you are able to see, Aesop, that the tree line begins at probably quite a few yards out still. Seems to begin to open up a little bit, and you begin seeing some tree stumps that dot the area where it looks as though these trees were cut down in the distance. And I'm going to move your character.
Okay.
And just keep in mind that your character is not right where they are on this map. They're still probably quite a few yards away. But because of your check, you're able to see this in the distance. So let me move over there and put your token here. We'll just say that your character is still probably like some 90 feet south of this map that I'm going to show you. As this tree line clears and you're able to see gain a little more insight, seeing that there's just a large number of stumps from what you assume cut down trees and collected wood. You are able to see that the area gives way to some rolling hills, and you also notice up ahead a large open area with what looks to be 3 massive catapults and a barricade opening and closing off the area in front of them. You see what looks to be a number of scro around this area and what look to be like cannonball-like ammunition that sit by them and other pieces of munitions and supplies. Between the two on the sides that are smaller, you see a very large one in the center, and at the end where the turnstile is pulled to launch the catapult, you see a very large, rather rotund-looking humanoid that seems to be shoving some type of food in his mouth.
Can I do a nature check on that?
Sure.
Oof. That's gonna be... Sorry, guys, I don't really know Aesop's. Okay, that's not bad. A 13.
With a 13, you are able to get the sense that this is probably some type of giant. Though the details beyond that are a little sketchy. But you get the sense that because of the size and shape and nature of the creature, that this is probably a giant of some type. Why he seems to be embroiled with the scro is you're unsure of. Behind that, on a little bit of a elevated hill-like area, you see 2 stumps that seem to have been cut down, but standing on top seem to be 2 armored scro individuals. However, similar to what Fa saw on horseback, they too seem to be standing at attention and have these extending telescope-like devices pulled up to an eye, scouting what seems to be the area that you are around. However, you feel relatively safe due to your invisibility. It's been about 30 minutes to get up here, flying with some haste.
Well, fuck.
Actually, I would say less than that. If you're flying at full speed, this maybe took 8 minutes.
Okay.
I don't know the exact science, but let's just say 8 minutes.
Great. I don't want to go forward, but I do want to go around. Like, maybe to the starting west.
You look past and are able to see what looks to be a very subtle path that seems to wind behind this fortified area that seems to continue heading north. And the sparse trees begin to pick up again a little bit after this what you would assume is probably some type of defensive area, obviously with this large artillery. You are able to now see over a coupling of trees, and you could probably, as you mentioned, sort of just like fly around in a circle-like manner past this area to continue north. What looks to be the front-facing part of a very large scro encampment. You can see the outskirts of it from here. And if you want to continue sort of encircling past this area to go check it out, you can certainly do that.
I think the more important thing would be I want to lower even more and see if there is like what possible ways we could take that isn't trapped or monitored, that, you know, like in the future we could potentially take to sneak up on them or start something.
You want to lower more to the ground to do this?
Yes.
Give me a perception check.
Yes. That is gonna be a total of perception. Oh, Aesop. Wow. Okay. Well, it's a nasty 20.
Nasty 20.
A dirty 20.
You look around, Aesop, and besides seeing this relatively fortified artillery here, there isn't too much that stops. There's no large, long wooden wall, pikes, or anything that stick out of the ground that would funnel you through an area. It would probably take you and your team some time. You could cut a little bit of time and try to kind of curve around them in a semicircle. And you may have to make some stealth checks, or you could really sort of do almost a diamond shape and push out far to one of the sides and then come back in to try and meet up at the entrance of this large scro encampment. You feel the safer you are out, the better. It would just take more time, although you get the sense that once your whole team is together and you're moving that way, that you could probably spend as much time as you need. So you feel relatively safe now that you've spotted this area up here and know that with enough berth, giving your guys selves enough time, you can probably make your way past relatively easy as long as you keep your heads low from this artillery from seeing you.
Okay. The last thing I want to look for before I start heading the other way, because I don't want time to run out on me, is
Bing bong.
is
You
it?
have 45 minutes left.
Oh no, I don't like that. Oh.
It's only been about 10 minutes.
You have 50 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Then I want to look for a crashed ship. Spelljammer.
You see large pieces of what look like debris from some type of large spelljammer is the only thing that you can assume that lies directly north, even past what you assume to be the encampment up ahead that you can see the outskirts of, that actually are deposited around the peak itself. You're assuming that this may be from the Spelljammer, but a closer look may help you get more inclined to that. But you'd have to fly and get a better look, meaning you'd have to go closer to the encampment up ahead.
I want to do another Arcana check.
Okay, sure.
And I'm too far away from the Spelljammer to do it, to check if that's, like, emitting anything off of it, or...
If it is a Spelljammer up there, then you get the sense from just looking at it that it is pretty fucked up.
Okay.
But you could still make your check just to see, if you want. It's a free check.
I'll do it. Oh, gross. It's a 10?
You take a second sensing around for arcane energy since you've been surrounded by it with other party members before and feel nothing of the sort.
And it looks heavily... I want to try to circle around. Like, I don't want to go inside. I just want to circle it, and see if I can get closer to the direction of where it's at.
Okay. Knowing that you still have plenty of time to spare, you push forward, doing what you mentioned, where you, even though you're invisible, you're still sticking low to the ground, and you're actually kind of cutting around in like a semicircle to avoid any attention from the nearby scro. You are low to the ground, keeping in the air so to not even really make any noise, touching the ground with your feet, and you're invisible, so I won't even ask for a check. You slip by them unattended, even by the two up north who seem to be peering more up into the air than around the immediate area now, keeping an eye out for what you can only assume is probably spelljammers. I will move you to the next map. This is what you'll see, and just keep in mind that your token is still about like 30 or so feet from the actual map area. But you'll be able to perceive this with your vision. So hang on just a second. You can see up ahead the tall wall of pikes that extend up to about 15 or so feet, and see the large square-like nature of what looks like a big scro encampment. I will move your token to a new map. Two large barred wooden doors. Just keep your vision from seeing fully within. And there isn't enough spacing between the pikes that make up the wall of this area to actually see within. You could ascend to see better inside, but you need to fly higher to do so. In the meantime, you do see scattered across the corners of this area here, from the corners as well as the middle points of this entire encampment, you do see what look to be large wooden guard towers that stretch up to about 30 or so, maybe even 40 feet in the air. General scro of both makeup and gender are atop here, keeping a close eye out around. You see at the far end, this really gross, nasty image here, but just imagine that you see the summit here where the grassy areas of this valley-like area give way to a more rocky palette. You can see the area of this large mountainous region begin, almost sort of cutting into the back of this encampment.
Okay.
So you can move that Aesop token. You're on the map. You just tell me where you'd like to go.
You said
and I will reveal things to you.
I would have to go higher to see?
Yes, you're still pretty low to the ground, so because these pikes are about 15 or so feet in the air, you'd have to fly up more. It's only been about 15 minutes, and also thank you, League of Explorers, for more bits. That's awesome. Thank you.
Let's fly up 20 feet.
20 feet, okay.
And I want to circle around. Just circle around. I don't want to go directly over it.
20 feet high, you're able to, at least at the front entrance, see what you see up ahead. You are able to see that behind the two wooden doors there is a large open area, two grassy hill-like areas. On one side, on the left, after entering this encampment, you see what looks to be a gathering of scro forces, sort of just standing at attention on one of the hills. They seem to be standing firm and at attention. On the other side, you see what looks to be another one of those giant figures. And at the far end, you can barely make out some what look to be tents, probably keeping their forces within. You would either need to circle around to a side or fly up higher to see further in.
I will continue to circle it.
Which side do you go to?
We'll do west.
Okay, so so you're just gonna kind of just fly up the west side to get a better view of what's going on.
Yeah, I want to generally stay away from it, but just get my eyes on it so I can get an idea of the surround, like the. What am I trying to say? Use my words.
Play out.
Yeah, thank you.
As you fly on the west side, trying to get a layout and gather some intel on the area, you're able to now see that a large portion of this middle area, not soon after you enter, is a number of tents that litter the area. You see a few stumps here that seem to have been cut down, probably to use for a lot of the wooden material that makes up this area. You see some forces that seem to be doing some drills on the western side, a couple more guard towers. A little north of that, you see what looks to be open stables of various horses. One of these scrows seems to be tending them. The area above that changes a little bit. You see a little bit more of dispersed, differently shaped tents. And at the far north of this west side, you can now make out what actually looks like you now see braziers, not braziers, on two sides of what looks like the entrance of a cave-like area at the base of this summit that kind of leads off into darkness in the side of this mountain area.
Okay, and there's no these tents. Does it look like it's do they look like they would? It doesn't look like something they would keep prisoners in. That's probably what the cave is for, I guess.
You are
let's
unsure.
circle around the other side and see what we see there.
Okay, very well. About 20 minutes in, you now shift over to the other side and begin to work your surveillance there.
Bing bong. 40 minutes remain.
Oh.
On the other side, as you fly around to get a better view, you see the rest of what look like the main tents of the forces here. You can see an area that looks to be the area where they are growing various vegetables and stuff like that for their troops. After that, you are able to notice what looks to be a cage holding within it. It's about 10 feet by 10 feet, made out of these copper bars. Standing at attention are two scro, but within you see what look to be two lizard folk that are somewhat well armed, but they at least armored, but don't seem to have any weapons on them. They are sort of sitting down on the ground with their backs against the bars.
Oh.
Up ahead, you see a similar assortment of sparse-looking tents, as well as a larger one, sort of at the center of that area. And far to the north, you see the rest of the entrance to what looks like to be a cave-like area.
Okay, great.
You can now see other braziers littering the area, and this is what you were seeing the whole time as your group was pushing ahead, seeing this plumage of smoke lift into the air. You hear the muffled sounds of this language that they're speaking. You can hear the tropping, the pushing into the ground of hoof steps. You hear the various war cries of some scro in different areas, the clanging of metal. There's various sounds. This is a lively camp. However, it does not seem as though they have made you out, as you have done a full recon of this very large encampment.
Okay, well, how many minutes?
Let's change the sounds. You're not in a cave anymore.
How many minutes do I have left on this invisibility?
It's been about 25, probably 30 minutes.
I will head back.
Okay,
Does
seeing
it
it.
smell at all like anything anything that is weird to me? Is there a smell that is notable?
A smell that's notable?
Yeah. Like, are they making anything that could be like a weapon, or does it smell like they're making something?
And make a perception check.
That's a 6.
You smell the sound. You smell the sound. You smell the smell of what sounds like. Not sounds, but you get the sense that there's probably food being cooked in this area. You smell the scent of leather. You smell the scent of smoke from the braziers. You're nostrils don't pick any other scents up, though. You're on mute, Glosse. You're still on mute. Hello?
Hello?
There
There
you
it
go.
goes.
Okay, wow, that's weird. The last thing I want to do before I head out is look for a scro with a weird fucking face on top of another face.
I'll say you can make a different perception check since this is based on sight. At disadvantage, though, because of the number of scro that are within this area.
Are there a lot of more than 2 faces?
Well, that can't get any worse than that. That's not gonna be good enough. That's a 5.
You peer around and see a lot of similarly ranked scro that you ran into and tussled with before at the previous encampment. However, you do not see a scro similar to the one that Rincaz has described to you. At least not with this cursory check.
Then I head back.
Alright. With about half amount of your magical time left for your invisibility, you decide it better safe to begin heading back now. Gathered what intel you can. You quickly begin flying south, and it is not long before you find yourself reconnecting with the group.
I will relay everything, and I'm assuming whoever had the clairvoyant eye saw everything.
The rest of you guys were able to see everything, and at certain intervals, because you are all wearing the earrings of communication, Aesop was able to also describe some of the things that he saw for those of you who couldn't get a good enough view through the eye. You have a decent idea. You essentially gather all the same information that Aesop saw with his own 2 eyes without him having to explain it all to you. So essentially the same information that he gathered, you are all now privy to as he flies back, landing at the entrance of the cave and pushing through the vines to regroup with you.
I also immediately want to start putting I put like paper on the ground, I spread it out, and I start like drawing what I just witnessed.
Okay, cool. You create a give me a D20 roll with your proficiency.
A D20 roll
With Aesop's proficiency. So I think that's +4.
Let's see. I just want to make sure there's not something Okay. Sorry. We're gonna roll plus my proficiency 21.
You create a pretty decent, relatively accurate portrayal of the area that you visited. Both the artillery that exists out in front of the encampment and the encampment itself and the things that lie inside. So everyone has a relatively good idea about where things are, having taken a look at this, as well as a general describing of Aesop that it gave you and looking through the eye.
Cool.
If that's their base, I trust us a lot, but I really don't think we should go there. That's a lot of people.
Well, that's a lot of weapons.
It does sound like a pretty large offense would be needed.
We pay
Okay.
the giant.
What? How much of what?
We tell him he's no longer a slave. We can get him off here and take him to a place that has endless food.
Well, what if the giant is a slave and he's doing this against his will?
Then we break him free and watch him wreak havoc. And we turn all the other slaves that are in there against him.
And I just also want to make a note, Aesop saw a possible safe way, sneaky way towards the encampment.
Yes, everyone saw, as well as you relaying Aesop, that as long as you guys cut a wide berth around that artillery, now that he has seen it, you guys should be relatively safe. You'll still probably have to make stealth checks, but it will probably be done at advantage as long as you keep a wide enough berth moving around it.
Wide. Okay.
It seems as though even if you were noticed having made your way around it, that it would take some time to actually move the catapult weaponry, if it could be restationed at all in a timely manner. So you feel pretty confident, Aesop, that you guys can at least skirt that. You also now get the sense that all of that weaponry is probably made for... that probably is the anti-spelljammer artillery.
Or anti-scro artillery.
So
I
let's
really
head back.
like where your head's at, but we need to head back.
And the way we came, do we know if we have to take the route through the camp that we just wrecked? Or is there another way?
There is a 10-foot wall of pikes that extend out for some distance. You could attempt to push back through the camp, or likewise you could attempt to A, find where that wall ends, heading far enough to one side, or head up to the wall of pikes that is a good enough distance away from the camp that you came from, and just try to find a way to create a way of passage through it.
Could the dingus pick us up? Oh.
Good. Well, I mean, maybe if we take out their artillery. There's the big guy there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's not go through the way we came from and try to make a new path through.
This area where the artillery is a good half, maybe 3/4 mile out from your cave. So the dingus could potentially reach here without running into trouble if it stayed low enough. However, Glosse, you all would know this, the dingus can only hold up to maybe 5 people.
Okay. Where did that firbolg go? Did he can take care of himself? He's not waiting for us?
He grabbed some supplies that he found within that area that he had was kept in, grabbing enough food for himself and things, and said that he knows the area and knows that he can lie low enough for you guys to return and have you all go back to Thornweald.
Let's do it. Let's get him return and go back to Thornweald. And not go through the camp that we destroyed.
Just a thought. Are we as far into this cave as we can go?
This cave stretches in about 35, 40 feet. It also descends probably like 10 or feet down. There is a very, very small collection of water at the far end. You hear the dripping of wet sounds, and in a certain darkened corner you can see a collection of a couple of what look like bats. But it's not very far in. The light from the entrance actually gives this entire area it's relatively well lit. A little dark towards the back, but there's nothing that could hide in here from you guys. You can see this area clear enough.
No real. It's only one way in, one way out kind of thing.
Right. It's just a pretty shallow cave that dead ends pretty quickly, about 40 or so feet in.
Well, it was good to check.
I don't think we have any other choice, yeah.
Alright. So let's start heading towards where you said that we could go make our own path.
Well, that's anywhere you want. It just depends on how far out you want to be from the camp that you came from.
As far where we can hide. Are there any trees that we can hide behind?
The trees are pretty sparse, so you can avoid detection from that camp. You get the sense that you could do this, but you would just have to spend a lot of time putting some distance between you and that path that leads south. But now that you've traveled up it, you get the general sense to stay in the southern direction and could divert off the path and stay far enough away where you more than likely won't be noticed by that camp down south.
Let's do it!
Classe hops on her Glymera. Is everyone else doing the same?
Sorry, Rincaz.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's fine. This is the better option. And they say those things in partial jest.
Fraxinus leans into you, Nvidia, and says, "What are you all deciding?"
Just gonna shake my head and then just point, like, away.
Self-preservation, I assume.
Yes.
A smart idea, I would say so myself. Ogre Mush looks, he's got a very disgruntled sneer on his face, but continues to ride on the Mount Sun Kong with you and Ukog. You guys climb out of the cave and begin to head south. About how far away do you want to try to be from the camp that you fought previously? Like a general estimate of how far out to the side that you would be from this camp.
Oh, man.
Like a mile?
Okay.
That sounds safe.
It takes you a little extra time, obviously, putting enough distance between you and the main path. But you're able to do so, seeing as time is not terribly of a matter for you guys right now. Just trekking here out in the wilderness, watching after yourselves. Keep in mind, your guys, not only the rations for your animals, but also yourselves. You have spent roughly a day and a half. Once you reach the edge of the tree line here, it'll be about 2 days. And then a third day pushing through the tangled timber to get back to Thornweald. So just keep in mind the return trip once you reach Thornweald will have been 3 rations from each of you. Whoever has the ration count on them.
I believe it's Aesop.
Okay. So just maybe make a note for him next time. Because I think he has plenty, but we just want to keep that in mind.
He's got 90.
Okay, so yeah, I would just mark off 18 rations. There's still plenty of feed for your mount, so that's not necessarily a worry. But you push out, keeping a wide berth about a mile in between you and where you assume this camp is that you came from previously.
Are we picking up the fireball, Bozo?
He told you guys to meet back at the tree line, and then he would...
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, he said that he knows the area well enough to lay low for you guys, and once you return, that he would help you get back to town.
That's what he meant. I thought lay low, like, until we came and got him. And
Well,
okay.
I mean, yes, but he hasn't gone back to town fully himself because he has no mount.
Gotcha.
You keep a good distance away from the camp that you previously went to, and now find yourselves coming up on this large pike wall that continues to extend even a mile out from the camp. Each of your mounts comes to a stop about 15 feet out from it. The pikes jut out of the ground, this time pointing away from you, from the area from where you came south, and they stretch up at an angle about 10 or so feet.
Aren't these like electrified or something?
They look to be made of wood.
Oh.
These like thornified or something?
They're
I'm
made of wood, and the higher end at the top they are sharpened to a point. Otherwise, there doesn't seem to be any harm from crawling over them.
Oh.
just want to make like a, I guess, an Arcana check just to make sure there's no like placed on them that if they're disturbed they alert something.
Sure.
Can I assist on that, please?
Of course.
Hey, maybe you should have done a +4. We'll find out.
He's-
17.
You lift one of your hands, Fa, just trying to get the general sense that pervades this area for any settled arcana that, or anything that may give off some type of magical alert, and you sense nothing.
Oh.
Just big old shrug. Oh,
All right, giddy up. Let's start climbing then.
can we just move one of these? How many of them would we have to move and/or destroy to get like just an easy walk through it?
They're pretty compacted. You can still see through them with a little bit of space in between. You can fit through them. They're relatively compacted, but to clear enough room for like you on top of your large creatures to just walk essentially through, you'd probably have to take out like 6.
Okay. Yep. Over, up and over. Yep.
Yep.
What's a marching order?
I guess we'll go first. On go
Yeah.
ball.
Glace, you and Fa on top of your Glymera climbs. Oh, go ahead, Sunkong.
I was gonna say I'd be somewhere near the front.
Okay,
I
so
think.
we'll say you go after Fa and Glace. Fa, Glace, your Glymera scampers up to the top using its squirrel-like rodent hands to pull itself up. It sniffs the air, keeping sure to keep its paws away from the spikier ends at the top of these pikes. It pushes itself off, throwing out its arms, similar to the image here, using the skin flaps to gently float down to the other side and lands. You hear it chitter once it does.
Oh.
Sunkong, you, and Ukog similarly crawl up. And your Glymera does a similar thing. It throws itself into the air about 5 feet up and then gently glides down, clearing the pikes. Who's next?
I'll go last if Aesop and Rincaz want to go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Aesop, Rincaz, your giant chameleon crawls up to the edges itself using its like 2 fingers on each end hand to sort of like hook grip around up to the top. Aesop, your invisibility obviously having worn off by now. You can see yourself. The giant chameleon looks around a little bit, sort of assessing the potential jump it's going to have to make. And it goes to leap off of the pikes to land on the other end. And for whatever reason, because it was potentially unsure of the distance or the sharpness of the pikes, its tail is still wrapped around the lower end of the pikes, and it catches itself mid-jump and pulls itself down onto the pikes. Both of you make a dexterity check as you hear the chameleon go, "Ah!"
No! You dumb chameleon! You dumb fucking mount! This isn't character.
Rincaz, you hold on tightly and hear this sound, but don't fall off.
23.
Similarly, Aesop holds on tight. However, you feel the shifting of your giant chameleon as it is stuck on the pikes underneath.
Does it look like we can get him out, or is he like stabbed at all?
He is like literally like around stomach area. 2 pikes are pushing into him, and he is writhing around.
So he's gonna die.
It doesn't look incredibly deep, but he has been punctured by them. Your guys' weight probably isn't helping.
Can Aesop flies off of him?
All right, Aesop, you just throw out your wings and lift up off and onto the ground on the other side.
I can polymorph him to a little dust bunny. We can carry him.
Azru grabs onto one of the pike ends and just pushes himself off and does sort of like a tumble roll to meet up with you, Aesop.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to. I want to calm him down first, or try to like calm him down and like cast a spell. I don't know if he's intelligent enough to understand that. But I want to try.
Make a animal handling check. At disadvantage because he's currently on top of a bunch of sharp pikes.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a 7.
He thrashes around one of his hands and tails, nearly batting you at you, Aesop.
Okay. I'm gonna turn him into a tortoise.
Okay. Does he need to make a check?
I suppose he will be...
He is too stupid to realize that you're trying to help him, so he is naturally just going to try and resist this. So he is going to make a roll, because he's not intelligent to realize you're assisting him.
Okay, it's going to be a DC 17 wisdom saving throw.
Oh, he fails.
Okay. He's a tortoise.
You watch as his large form all of a sudden just pulls in with a stretching sound. And where once there was a large giant chameleon, there is now a regular tortoise. Still somewhat bloody at the bottom end, but now because of the hard shell underneath its stomach, it seems to actually just sit on the tip end of one of the pikes and begins to fall. Along with that, Rincaz, you also fall.
Sorry.
I would have grabbed onto the branches and drank my potion of smite.
Well, it's not too high, is it?
It's 10 feet up. Rincaz, you tumble down onto the ground and take a point of damage.
Oh, Aesop would catch, or try to catch the little turtle baby.
All right, make a dexterity saving throw. Or, know what? Did you already roll that?
I did.
What was it?
16.
Okay. You I guess this would be like a dex save, because in that quick moment you're trying to, avoid having the tortoise smack onto the ground. You quickly sort of throw your wings out and push yourself forward and are able to clutch the tortoise in your hands. You can see it lands upside down in your hands, you kind of holding the top end of its shell, and you see its feet slowly kicking in the air. Okay. There's a bit of blood coming out from the interior of the shell out onto its legs.
We can heal that up, I'm sure, no problem. Can I pour... I don't know... Aesop can make his potions, right?
That's correct. He can create potions.
I'm just gonna look at his inventory before I... Sorry, guys. You know what? Glacé's just gonna kiss his little turtle shell and say, "You'll be okay," and cast... the stupid fucking mount! Let's just... she'll cast, Cure Wounds on it.
Okay. Hey, this is your mobility. Otherwise, you guys are fucked with getting back. So, important things. How much does that heal him for?
A total of 13.
You watch as violent as a turtle kicking into the air could be, which is pretty slow. There is a pinkish wave that runs over a magical aura over the turtle, and you see it kicking less violently. It seems to slowly relax a bit over a few minutes.
Okay. Alright. Now, it's Vidi. Be careful.
Oh,
You see its appendages pull back and recede into its shell.
Be a good baby.
And Vidi, you and Fraxinus, as well as your familiar, riding on top of the treetop megatherium. The treetop megatherium slowly begins to crawl up the pikes. You hear the shifting sound, the moaning and bending of the wooden pikes as it climbs. And it is going to attempt to make it across.
You can do it, Mr. Hugs.
I try to move out of the way so it doesn't fall on me.
Good idea. It climbs up to the top, similar to the others, sort of watching from the top. You, Nvidi, hear the sound, a snapping sound, as the top end of the 4 or so pikes that it has climbed up upon just snap in half, and it just falls the 6 or so feet distance in the air down to the ground, and is now on the other side.
Okay, well let's just bust the other fence down, or the other pikes.
Good job, Mr. Hugs. That was fascinating. Here, have another treat. You like these. You did a good job. Mr. Hugs gets all the treats.
It wraps a slobbery tongue around the feed.
Ugh, okay. Glad we're all here, let's go.
You turn your turtle back into the giant chameleon. It takes a second for it to calm down, but Aesop, you and Rincaz are able to pull yourselves back on and continue your trek. It isn't too long after that before you reach the tree line. Everyone make me a perception check, please.
Plus 4 perception.
23.
All right. 18, 23.
15.
What did Glosse get?
Glace is the one that got the 18. Aesop
for Aesop.
unfortunately got a 3.
Okay, that's okay. There's a lot of higher end rolls. You guys are able to see shifting through underneath. You all are attentive for a second, hearing the shifting sound of what seems like something moving at the base of the trees. Now you made it to the tree line here. You watch you can see the trees and how they stretch up just for stories up into the air. You also see that carpet of mixed thorny vine work that some look like normal size vines. Others look like these just like waist round vines that are huge and have thorns on them that are about the size of your guys' head. You are all alert when you hear the sound of rustling coming from nearby, and pushing out of some of the vines, kind of keeping close to what seems like the bottom of one of the tree trunks. You see the firbolg that you ran into earlier pulling himself out to greet you. You actually made it back.
Were you waiting right there for us?
Oh, yeah.
What if we didn't come through here? Seems
I
fortuitous.
saw you heading this way.
Oh, yeah. We didn't attack the camp, so we're here and alive.
I see.
There's a lot of scro out there.
You saw for yourself then?
Mm-hmm.
Were you able to at least get a decent look at what was going on in that area?
Well,
I mean, big old camp, some slaves, lots of weapons.
So
This king.
then you were able to lay eyes on the area.
Yes, thanks ASAP.
Well, that's good. Then you didn't come back with nothing. Most of us were not able to get far enough to actually lay eyes onto the place without being captured ourselves. This is good information.
Aesop says, "Oh yes, and we can make you a copy of this if you would like," and shows him the map.
I'm sure that our chieftain back at Thornweald would love to have that.
Aesop would
It's
make a copy for them.
unfortunate that we weren't able to bring back those who were captured, but it was a smart idea, you all coming back alive and in one piece.
Well,
You did what you could.
Yes, let's get out of here.
I know the treetops of Thornweald better than anyone here running the mounts back at the village. I know of a special way to route us through that will avoid most of the natural life there.
Oh, good.
May I join one of you, he says, kind of just waving a hand towards you guys.
Oh, I turned the tortoise back into a chameleon.
You turned it back, so it's fine. So he kind of comes over and just crawls. There's a moaning sound coming from the chameleon because of the weight on him, but it's able to still climb.
I think there's room on the
Oh
on
yeah,
Mr.
there's
Hugs.
a big
Yeah.
boy.
Or Sun Kong's Glymera. Yeah, he can come on with us.
I'll go ahead and get on the Megatherium, he says.
Just squat that list.
Mr. Hugs.
This is Mr. Hugs. I guess he's yours.
He
But,
is. He says as he pets it. There is a noticeable reaction from the treetop Megatherium as it almost rubs the side of its head against the hand of the firbolg as he pets it. There's a bit of a smile on his face. Yes, I'll be happy to go see my children again. He finishes patting the top of the head of the Megatherium. It's good to see you all again, he says. He seems to be talking to the mounts themselves as he climbs up top.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we just saw you, like, right over there.
We're happy to see you too.
Well, at the very least, I owe you my life. Without you, I have no idea how long it would have been to see my boys again, if they would have even allowed me to go free in the first place.
Well, you're welcome.
Well then, is everyone ready? It's a long trek, as you know, a full day's worth. Is everyone fed up and ready to go?
Yes.
I can keep us out of the dangers, but it will still take the full amount of time to get there. If everyone's ready, I'll point out the way, he says. And with that, each of your mounts begins to scale these story-high trees that lead into the tangled timber, and you guys begin making your trek back to Thornweald. He shows you some interesting path to go, occasionally telling you to lower closer to the vinework at the bed of the tangled timber, and sometimes very high. He also occasionally tells the two of you, against some of your better judgments, to actually split up and diverge out into like a circle path meeting up again some paces ahead. You follow his instructions, however, and find that you run into no resistance on your way back to Thornweald. It's a long trek and takes a full day's worth. Is there anything in particular you guys are doing over the 24 hours it takes to get back? If not, we can just skip back to you guys arriving.
Maybe look out, like maybe try to remember the path or see any kind of patterns and what he's kind of trying to avoid. As Aesop, Glace would be too dumb for this, so
Okay, make a check to try and remember this. Probably a investigation, or I'd take even a a history check. That's more for remembering information, but I'll also let you make a history check to try and remember this.
let's do investigation.
Okay.
That
Survival help. Sorry.
Survival would be another good one if someone else wants to try and help her out on that.
I'll
Or
do
help
a survival since I'm kind of on the same mount.
Okay. Glace, or I should say Aesop, what was your check?
Oh, Aesop was a 19.
Oh, pretty good. Okay. Anybody else? Did you want to lend a hand in trying to do
I
this?
think they got it.
Okay.
Sun Kong got a natural 20.
Natty
I got
20.
a 15.
Oh. You guys are easily able to perceive this. It's a very interesting way that he takes, but you're able to put it to memory. And similar to your gathering of intel on the map, Aesop, you guys are able to discern the path that Gondrin traveled, so that should you guys want to head back north, you will know this way to go to avoid any more trouble.
Okay, cool.
A day passes, and out in the distance you can see the familiar treetop platforms of Thornweald. You all breathe a sigh of relief seeing solid, flat, open ground up ahead, or at least the ground of the platforms to stand on, and find yourselves re-entering Thornweald. You all reach the platform where the mounts initially came from. As you do, you see the two brothers peering out, seeing you approaching, and also seeing their father on one of the mounts. They begin to pat each other, hey, hey, and wave you guys over. Once the treetop megatherium, the last of the bunch, slowly pulls itself up on the platform, you watch as Gondrin lowers himself off of the mounts and gives both sons a hearty hug. They give a comforting embrace, and Gondrin mentions how the rest of you were able to bring him back. The two brothers have a very cheery look on their faces, and turning to you, Gendon says, "You guys were true to your word. Thank you so much."
It was nothing.
You guys paid a certain amount for the mounts, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much that was?
Nope.
Let me look at my notes. Mounts were... Oh god, we were in the weird for a long time. Sorry here.
It's okay.
Oof. Rented mounts, giant spider, hit a wall of infinity vines. Those are my notes from when we got the
You see the firbolgs now reunited gather together, and the younger looking brother holds up a finger and heads down the wooden stairs, shuffling off to what looks like one of the hollow treed out homes. He comes back as the older brother and father wave him over. He holds out a bag full of coin and says, "It's 30 gold pieces. It's probably not much to you all, but thank you so much."
Oh, well, thank you.
"I wish I had more," Gondrin the father says to you all. "I can't tell you how much it means to be reunited with my children again. Thank you so much. I can look after the mounts if you're done with them. I appreciate you bringing them back in one piece as well."
Yes, there was... Yes. All in one piece. Perfectly fine.
Undamaged.
He nods happily, not realizing what happened. And you see him coming over to take the reins of the mounts, and you guys are able to hop off if you'd like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go
Goodbye,
for
Mr.
Shishaba.
Hugs.
The treetop megatherium. You have no food in your hand, but this time the treetop megatherium, or Mr. Hugs, gives your palm and hand a solid licking.
Oh, Fa, don't get too close to that thing's face.
Can I press the digitation its paws off before I leave?
Its paws off?
Yeah, like, can I just kind of like clean its paws?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you clean the sort of like bark encrusted and probably just other gunk that's collected on its claws and sort of just pockets of fur at the front end of its feet, cleaning it up some. Gondrin comes over and says, "I appreciate it, but don't worry about that. I'll give him the proper clean down.
Oh, okay.
You all take care of yourselves. You're welcome to visit any time again."
Thank you. I just didn't want to lick it back, is all.
Oh, yes, I suppose you wouldn't want to, he says.
Okay, well,
All right.
Rincaz, maybe we should go give this map, a copy of this map, to the chief, and let's head back to our ship.
Hmm.
So let's go do that.
Rincaz says,
A knowing.
The sooner we get off this place.
Yeah. So, this map is. Shabam!
Oh, yeah.
I'm just surprised we didn't see Udok earlier. I mean, he could be in there, but
Oops.
you all return seeking audience with the chieftain, Bata Ogo. He welcomes you all, his servant opening a hand to allow you to enter. He turns to you all and, beginning in Draconic but then shifting over to Common, says,
Welcome back. What news you bring, Bata?
Oh. Aesop will hand him the map. That's the encampment, and what we were able to see.
He pulls the scroll open that you've written down on this parchment and views it.
You getting close enough to see all this?
Flew right over it.
Good info. You rescue any prisoner?
Just Gondrin.
Mountmaster. Good to have him back. Unfortunate rest of security forces here couldn't be rescued. But Bata appreciative of this map. Help us get better understanding of area. Maybe one day we mount in a fence.
He hands it over to his assistant, who takes it, and you hear him say in Draconic, "I will study this. Thank you, Bata. Perhaps we will gather enough information to secretly gather the others at one point and pull them out without any trouble." Bata turns to you all and says,
You done good. You bring Ata good fortune.
Oh.
You wild knots. What you want in return?
Team huddle. What do you think this guy could give us? He's fine. ask for like gold. They don't look like the kind of people that just have gold lying around.
Mr. Hugs.
That would be really fun. Cause Sugar could use a friend, but they might have weird bits of sorts.
Oh,
Weird bits would be good.
yes.
I'm sure Aesop would want a heart, but weird bits probably sounds bad.
Weird bits it is.
What were you gonna say, Sun Kong?
I was gonna say, didn't he offer us weird bits for something? So
He-
like we know he has them.
He seemed to have a primary payment in weird bits, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Glace, you ask for weird bits?
Mm-hmm.
He scratches his scaly chin with long fingernails. You see him run a hand down to the small drake at his feet, scratching its belly.
Thor! Grab them payment.
You see the assistant, this tall, copper goldish, lithe-looking lizard folk, shift down the steps for a few seconds and return. He carries a bag in each hand. Everyone roll a 1d6.
1d6, I'm gonna get Aesop's. Oh, you know, I'll just go and roll 20. Screw it. Oh, well.
And just let me know what your totals were.
6.
Alright.
2.
I got a 2.
3 for Glace, 3 for Aesop.
Rincaz?
That's a 4.
That's how many weird bits you guys now have.
Okay, let me add this. 12, 16.
You can, I was going to say, keep them individually or throw them together. It's up to you guys.
All together.
Alright.
I think Aesop Scrooge McDucks into that huge pile.
Yeah.
Did I say 4? I meant 84.
Weird bits. Got it.
I feel like we're probably close to 70 again.
So, according to Aesop's sheet, we have, with the 20 included, let's see, 50.
Oh,
Nice.
Yes.
it's good. I just thought we were closer to 70.
Okay, well, thank you. We have to get back to our ship now. Did we have to go through the infinity vines to get there, or was there a safe way to our ship?
You mentioned this to Bata, and he says that similarly to how his southern guard sentries were able to bring you here, that he will offer you guys to have them take you back to the area that led to the Kentaurus Valley where your ship was.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, I guess it could get us close. We don't have to run it. Yeah, okay.
Azru, Ogre Mush, and Fraxinus turn to you all. Fraxinus and Sylvan says, I suppose our job is done as well.
Thank you for being really, really smart. I'm sorry you don't like the seeds I have.
Gross.
No worries. Your other team members were able to provide plenty of interesting seeds for me to hold on to. I appreciate
it.
the payment. Ogre Mush and Azru look and say... Ogre Mush turns and says,
About 3 days. 3 days of payment.
Oh.
What was his rate again?
I believe it was 10.
So 30 gold.
I think we talked him down to 1.
I don't think you guys did.
No, I don't think we got discounts.
I don't believe you guys got discounts. And then Fraxinus, obviously you guys paid in seed. And Azru himself similarly was 10.
Okay. Can you guys pay that? Do you need me to pay it?
Which one did Aesop have? The Azur.
Aesop was using Azru.
Okay, 10. Aesop pays him 10.
10 gold.
Yeah.
Azru takes the 10 gold and keeps his hand extended.
Aesop gives him a high five.
Yes, very nice.
Kong will kick in 10 gold.
What? More
Yeah. I'll pay him another 10 to make it the 30 he's looking for.
Azru shakes his head and scratches his butt and shoves the coin into a pretty beat up and cut up pair of pants and begins to gives you, as he heads out, gives you a wave with a very hairy thick arm. Ogre Mush. What's that?
So put it in a pair of pants and then sling it over his shoulder. Like,
Oh,
I thought he was naked.
No, he's actually wearing pants. They're pretty tattered.
Oh, okay.
I'll pay the full. I thought it was 10 just GP flat. No, Aesop would pay him the full 30 GP. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, we'll say you pay Azru the 30, and then everyone can kick in and Aesop, and then whoever, Nvidi and Sun Kong, you guys help to pay Ogre Mush.
Fine.
Ogre Mush turns to you guys and says,
Come back. Help me squish scro.
and he begins to walk off.
It's honestly bothering me. Can I give Jira like a coin purse of 30 coins to give it back to that family, so they don't have to like give up their life savings to get their dad back?
Oh.
You give it to Jira, and Jira flies off. There is a good couple minutes that pass by, and Jira comes back empty-handed.
Greatest dragon that ever lived.
Speak dragon, let me see what he says. Rah, rah, rah.
That's about what he said.
Oh, he said that their house was burned down. Rah, rah, rah.
Jira
Didn't quite catch that in Draconic, but maybe he's got a cold and I can't understand him very well. We are telepathically linked.
Paul looks a little caught in the wood. Ooh, yeah.
Wait, Paul, I
Yeah.
thought you could speak every language.
Well, not all of them, not all the time. See, I can't speak two at once. Otherwise, it just sounds like this. I got that.
You are really, really smart, though.
Well, fairly smart.
Let's head back.
Let's.
All right, you guys begin to head back. There is a number of similar dressed lizard men, as well as, and women, as well as a number of a slightly lesser number, but still some dragonborn, all mounted up on these giant chameleons. You all each wrap a leg around one and sort of holding on to the waist of the rider in front of you, they begin to head out. You guys head back on the trail from the treetops, leading back into Kentaurus Valley. They lower from the very tall treetops to allow you to descend down onto the path and bid you farewell as their giant chameleons begin to ascend back up towards the treetops and move back towards Thornweald. You find yourself standing in the open Kentaurus Valley. You know, or at least have the sense that if you travel south about in 2-3 hours, you will reach the area where your ship once was. This area that was once very gloomy and difficult to look around in, the skies have now cleared, and the sense of dread that you felt in this area from a few days back has largely subsided.
Still don't trust it.
Yeah, I don't want to stick around. It's pretty, it's really pretty, but let's get the hell off this place.
Still better than the desert.
Very true.
You all beginning to head on what visible path there is through the thick tree line and jungle areas, begin to head south. It's a couple hours in. Everyone give me some type of check, whether it's perception or just keeping an eye out.
Perception.
And just let me know your totals, please.
On a dirty 20.
All right.
11.
Okay.
21.
Nice.
Glace 18, Aesop 16.
Okay. You guys are able to make your way back with a little fuss. You see the occasional critter, the occasional snake. You think you actually see what looked to be some type of panther gloss in the distance.
Ooh.
The jungle life seems a little more abundant and lively now that that overhanging thunderstorm has subsided from your initial venture here. You find yourselves at the familiar area where it opened up to that lakefront area where the fisherman's shack was that you initially ran into Alanalu and the other gift platoon. You actually see now the burnt out fire of the small camp area that you made where you guys spent some time towards the evening where you bamboozled the gift platoon. You guys push south knowing that following south from this fork, it's another 30 or so minutes trek. You guys pushing through, largely remaining out of danger, find yourselves standing at the base of the geodesic ship that, just as you saw before, also you guys being wary now to avoid the pretty deep sloshing areas of mud that are around here. It's not as bad as when it was raining, but you still just try to avoid the general muck of it. You see up on a little bit of an incline, not too far up, just a couple feet or so up, your ship that is still kind of like suspended off the air. It's not touching the ground. It's suspended like 5-6 feet off the air, but there is still that massive vine work of 10 or so vines that are like tree trunk thickness that wrap around the ship.
Are they like... do they attach to anything? Like, can we find out what tree they are attaching to?
You take a minute to walk around the ship and see that the vine work actually seems to have just extended out from the ground itself.
Can I tell it in Sylvan to let go of our ship?
Bugger off.
Yeah, I do that.
You say that. Give me some type of check.
I'm going to use my mic, and I'm going to...
Perform for it.
Oh, I can perform. I'm going to use the mic where it's, like, loud. It does the booming voice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And...
I can do advantage on performance.
Oh, yeah. Can I perform, like, do a performance? Like,
You can try anything.
I do. I want to, do a performance check on this. Oh, fuck. Okay. 14. I rolled a the first time 13. The first time I rolled a 3, so 16, sorry.
What's your performance look like?
Glosse is going to kind of like sing it to like hum it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess plants like music, so she's just going to sing a little tune. Let go of our ship, release your grip, get the fuck off of our ship.
You give a impactful performance, asking with some amount of imperative that the vine work let go of your ship so you guys can GTFO. The vines don't move.
Oh, okay. Playing hard to get, are we? Alright, Phoebe, get the fire.
Okay. Does everybody have Aesop's fire potions? Because that'll really help here. If everybody could put those right next to a branch for me.
Yeah.
I have this decanter just in case.
I put down a bomb. Yeah.
And then, nobody look, please.
Oh, okay. Alright.
So can I kind of almost connect the dots between the bombs and the branches, and then either use a wall of flame or a bonfire to set it all off at once in a controlled manner?
I will say yes. Give me some type of check to enact this plan of yours. Arcana, I'll take other stuff if it makes sense for you to do it.
Would you take a performance check?
I would take a performance check, yes.
How about add advantage with a card?
Very well then. Seeing Glosse perform, you in a similar manner wanting to give a performance, but this time more to attune your movements to hopefully set off a chain reaction, to hit as many of these at once, to hopefully create a caustic encounter for the vines that will hopefully recede if this is done correctly.
Be a 14.
Is that with advantage?
It's with it. I rolled 2 5s.
Okay, so 14 overall.
14 overall.
You miss one or two of the spell. However, you're able to set off quite a few of them. All of you hear the crackling of glass and the sound of what sounds like combustible material blowing out into flame work. You watch the first one explode at the base of one of the larger vines of Vidi and see it spray with flame, catching the bottom base portion of it on fire. It doesn't move necessarily, but as you in chain reaction catch others, seeing now that you've caught 4, 5 base of the vines on fire, you now finally see them begin to quiver and release, lifting their hold, their tight grip from the ship, and now shifting down back into the earth itself. The first are the ones that are set on fire, but then in tandem, soon afterwards, the ones that weren't even set where your shots went a bit wide, almost as if it was all one organism, recedes back into the earth. You hear the sound of shifting rock, and dust kicks up as they pull themselves back into the earth, leaving sizable holes, but allowing you guys to now approach your freed ship.
Yes! Okay.
Let's go really, really quick. Like, really, really quick.
Yes! Everyone, click your heels together 3 times and touch the communicator.
There's a place like home, but it's not here.
Alright, and I want to cease the flames that I'm controlling as we teleport out.
Okay, you do so, everyone, placing a hand on the crystal communicator. There is a flash of bright light as you all find yourselves back.
Let's
in a
go!
geodesic
Let's go!
ship.
Don't wait! Start her up! Navigator, get it going! We can't wait here. It might grow back.
I want to pull out my rifle just to be safe in case anything weird happened or got on the ship, which I doubt, but just out of safety.
Welcome back, everybody. You seem itching to want to get out of here, I assume.
This place sucked.
Still better than the desert.
I'll let the navigator know immediately for us to get out of here. Where was the next area that you wanted to go?
There's not mud.
Orbit. Like now, please. Fast.
Alright, I'll pull us out so that we're at least away from the cradle and give you guys some time to relax. You don't have to come up with a destination immediately. Just wanted to make sure you didn't have one in mind. The others, the survey that you sent out, they got back here a day or so back, and they're currently cleaning the exterior of the ship. They brought back a decent amount of items with them if you want to speak with them. Otherwise, I'll get Navigator to pull us away from this area, and it's good to have you all back, she smiles.
Oh, it's good to see you. Let's go check out the Dingus crew.
Alright, who heads
Yeah.
down? Who heads down to the dispatch center?
I'll go
wanna
down
see
there.
Dingus.
Glace, you and a number of others head down to the dispatch center, seeing the Dingus 3. You see Kriv, Zeke, Slime, Inoki, and Stray working a amount of dust, dirt, and just general grunge off of the exterior of the Dingus 3 ship. Inoki turns, seeing you all enter, and says,
Ah, you guys made it back. And look, we made it back too. All in one piece.
He seems to look over and almost looks leery-eyed over at Kriv, who turns quickly and continues cleaning. Also, Stray, you're back too.
Yeah, man. I'm the best driver of all time. Yeah.
Agreed.
What happened? We heard some things, Kriv.
There was some issues.
Inoki turns to you guys and says,
Yes, drama. So, look, I'm happy to do this for you guys. Maybe next time you just send us to one area, not like 7. No offense. But that was some serious stuff that we ran into. So you ran us to a couple different spots. First, there was a pinpoint area for us to check out before we got to that college area, or at least trying to make our way there. And that was some type of like lizardman spelljammer researchers. They were doing some research on some of the local planetoids out in that area. There was a bit of a communication barrier. Zeke was trying his best to communicate with them, although they seemed to have their own sort of territorial slang that they were using. Kriv tried to help out, and unfortunately, I think he offended them, and that caused a bit of trouble for us. But other than the wound he suffered, we were able to make it out there relatively unscathed. And with a little bit of bartering gear that we made out.
Kriv, what did you say to them?
I don't know.
Kriv says as he wipes harder.
I will never speak of it again.
You see as he is wiping that he, on his left hand, is now missing his pinky finger.
Oh my.
Oops.
I can't fix that.
Did you take something from them?
No, I must have misspoke.
What was it that you said that you think you said that they took wrong?
I was just trying to barter with them. I was talking about their emblematic flag that they were using. It looked like an item of interest that we could possibly make some coin on, and I must have said something that offended them. I paid the price for it, he says.
Did they seem like barbaric at all, or?
Not really barbaric, just not really putting up with any of our shit either, especially with the language barrier. But hey, we got some loot out of it.
Good.
You said they were lizard folk, though.
Yeah, some type of researchers, yeah.
What were they researching?
I don't exactly know. We didn't stick too long around to sit around and have tea with them. We were mostly just looking to do a bit of bartering and do what we can to get some interesting items for you guys, and then get the hell out of there before we all took spears into our abdomens.
Okay.
Something about the nearby sun and how it helps hatch their eggs, and when the eggs of the lizard folk are raised out in wild space as opposed to being a groundling, that they actually are much more intelligent when they hatch.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah. At least that's what I think they said. This is before he lost the finger, of course.
I'm not laughing at you. I thought of something funny.
I mean, it'd be hard to have tea with them without a pinky.
Did you want to see the stuff that we got from that place?
Yes, sure.
It was quite an assortment. They, of course, were doing research on not just the nearby sun, but some of the planetoids nearby, so they gathered quite a few knickknacks. He begins to crawl into the hole of the Dingus 3, and together, along with like Stray and Slime, pull out a chest, and they pop it open. He pulls out, if someone wants to keep a running tally of this stuff.
Sure.
Actually, I'll also post it in the chat. And hang on just a second. Let me pull that up so I have it, and I will begin posting. He pulls out a frying pan, a dragon banner, and basically with the items that the survey team brings back, you guys are welcome to collect these and hold on to any of these items that you wish. But if you don't want them, we can just go ahead and assume that at the next point where you can trade them in for their monetary value, you can go ahead and just already do so and just collect the monetary value. So if there's anything you want to hold on to, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just assume that they are converted into gold for you guys.
What's the dragon banner look like?
The dragon banner has a greenish looking pattern to it, and draped along the center of it is a claw at the bottom holding what looks to be a flame with a relatively intimidating looking insignia of a open dragon mouth above it.
Can I have this one, please?
Yeah, of course. Just don't show it to those lizards again.
I'll try not to, thanks.
Alright.
Is it anything that you like? Is it something that you're a dragon boy or into dragons?
I don't want to touch it. I lost a finger over that.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe Aesop can do something with that. Yeah, Aesop. Maybe he can look at it
Aesop. Oh, Aesop, I suppose, is down here.
With the finger.
Oh, with
It's
the
in
finger.
the communicator. No, with the banner. I don't know if I'd recognize it. Yeah. What could I try to recognize it?
Sure. You could do a religion, a history, whatever makes sense.
Try a religion check. 16.
You have at least read about this at your time at the college in VD. There are various religious factions of plenty of races out in the wild space. This one rings to you as you're reading through some of the books in some of your classes as a group of religious dragonborn called the Cult of the Green Flame.
Yeah. Not ringing a bell. Jira, does this look familiar to you?
Kind of wave it around back and forth. Probably does nothing, but
Jira looks at you and back at the banner and goes, "Ah!"
Yeah, we got nothing, but I do like the way it looks, so maybe I'll hang it in my room. I'll pay you guys for it if you need.
Okay, well, we also got a leather satchel, an old round shield, a broken sword, some goat jerky, a crystal vase, some bow darts, iron spike, a bandit a gate jib, and this has got some blood from the old man missing the finger over there, but a blood-soaked book.
Gross.
What's the book?
I flipped through it some. It's in Draconic, so it's a bit difficult for me to read, but Kriv and Zeke mentioned that it's something about just some of the logs that the crew on board that research vessel were using. Maybe could get you a couple coins.
Yeah, you take it.
Yeah, I'll read a draconic book.
It's boring.
Oh, what were they researching? Does it say?
I can't read it.
NVD.
I don't read entirely fast, but I'll give it a go.
Okay.
Give me a little bit with it.
So, after that fun adventure, you guys wanted us to go to a water planet next.
Uh-huh.
It, interestingly enough, was not circular shaped. This one was cubed. An entire planet in a cube shape made entirely of water. There were some spread out islands along the way. We were able to do a little bit of trading with some of the merfolk that were around there, silly enough. And we were able to make a bit of headway, exchanging some things that we got from the lizard folk and doing our best to understand what the hell they were saying there and do some more business. In general, we found some gold. He pulls out more loot, a box of perfumed candles. Again, hold on to these if you want, otherwise just assume that you collect the value that they're worth. If any of them have any significance or importance to any of you guys, just let me know and you can check them out.
I'll send the perfume candles to Brassbell.
Okay, you can hold on to that. Oh, some of them were magic users too, so we were able to make out with a little bit of stuff that actually may be useful to you guys, he says as he hands over a spell scroll of minor illusion.
Ooh. I'm ready.
He pulls out 2 flasks and hands them over. 2 potions of climbing. And Slime hands over 2 slimy covered flasks that are potions of healing.
Gross.
Yeah, pretty nasty stuff. So, the last stop was the college. We weren't able to actually make it to the college itself. VD and I'm sure Hush probably are aware of this, but the whole place is surrounded by a weird magic aura that makes you have to traverse up to the mountain where the college is itself instead of just flying there in a spelljammer. Something about it being a prestigious college and you having to actually earn your way there, quite literally.
Yeah.
There was a couple small settlements at the base of some of the mountain ranges there, and we were able to at least camp there. And that's actually where we were trying to make our way before we completely gave up, ran into your friend who was part of the masterminds. One of the X guys, the bookworm.
X-23!
That's right.
He's the bad boy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's the most that we were able to gather. Luckily, none of us were severely hurt or killed, and we made it back safely. But I would highly suggest next time that maybe we just visit one location.
Sounds like a really good idea.
It's all about efficiency, you see. The more places you stop, the your time's worth to me.
That's true, but that just means the longer span of time it takes for us to bring back valuables to you guys. On top of that, the more likely it is for us to run into casualties who can't bring back their share of the loot.
You are really, really smart.
I used to run quite a few numbers of listings and stuff, not only in my fungal group, but also for Old Gaddy.
Well...
Speaking of, she mentioned that she wanted to talk to you guys about something.
Oh. Well. Okay.
Just whenever you had a second.
She never wants to talk to us. So I guess we should go find out what it is. Maybe she needs, like, ingredients for a potion. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It was wonderful work that you did. Sorry about the pinky.
It's all right. Whatever I can do to help repay you all. I'm sure you have suffered much worse,
Criff says.
Body parts lost yet. Okay, maybe a heart. Bye. Oh, and a brain or a full body. Never mind.
We probably asked a lot of them.
So let's go visit old Ganny. Where's she at?
Top right.
You find old Ganny, interestingly enough, in the area where poisons are crafted, talking to the children.
Oh, wonderful. Like I said, let me get my token to move up there. Oh, I grabbed Ukog. I'll leave her in the hallway.
Oh, yes. Hello, everyone.
She says, exiting the poison crafting area. Nezel and Gezma are with her.
Welcome back.
You hear Nezel say,
Where have you guys been?
We're in the jungle, and it wasn't fun there. Very
Gezma
bad.
looks and says,
What's a jungle?
Oh, right.
Wait,
Well,
It's a planet or a big area full of trees, like the big green or brown wooden things with the green leaves on it, and they were all over. That's all you could.
they turn to each other and turn back to you.
You mean like the ones that are growing in your garden area? Those things?
Exactly. Imagine that, but it was a whole place. Just imagine where you guys were, but that's all you could see.
Wow. Why didn't you take us?
no.
Very dangerous.
You
Someone
got- Sorry. You
No,
guys don't go anywhere ever again.
Yes, speaking of children, why don't you go grab yourself some food? I made you a nice soup over in the tavern area.
And Nezel and Gezma give each other big smiles and wave at you guys as they head off to eat food. Old Guinea
They go
turns
to Flavor Town.
Yeah, they go to Flavor Town, that's right. They head on into the restaurant, or the kitchen area. Old Guinea turns to you guys and says, I wanted to speak to you about the children in particular. When Ileona left some months ago, I mentioned that the bones that I used to portend future events were showing me some dark signs ahead. It seems like most of you have made it out relatively unscathed so far, but let's be honest, I know a wild knot or two when I see them, and you all have, despite going wherever you have gone, run into various amounts of trouble or confrontation. Am I wrong?
No.
And it comes with the territory. Even us in here, being your crew, we're relatively safe considering this is a separate pocket dimension within the ship itself. But it's not without its hostilities either. We've had the occasional outlier find their way inside here and pose a threat to not only you all, who are relatively well defended with your weapons and magics, but also us. You see, as much as I know that you take comfort in knowing that you saved those children off of that godforsaken planet, I feel uneasy as a somewhat grandmotherly type for keeping them here with us. The travels of us wild knots, even us as your crew, it's no place for children.
Oh, we can't. I mean, who can we trust to take care of them?
Well, I had something in mind. You see, we're not far out from Udu, and it's about this time every couple seasons that there is a fun event that we could take the children to and potentially drop them off with my coven sisters to look after them.
They're not
Even
gonna
though
eat
I've...
them.
Oh, no, please, come on.
Okay.
Not these children.
Why not?
I'm joking. I'm joking. No, even despite my distance from them over several decades, I still have a certain sway with them. I'm sure that they would find good homes on Udu, and it may even be somewhat similar to their old lives, with a little more amount of comfortableness. You've been to Udu yourselves. It's not that terrible. Dark and dreary, sure, but not as bad as that planet you came from to save them. They may find a certain level of comfortability there, and it would be a good place to drop them off. They would have an entire family of sisters to look after them.
Well, that does sound wonderful.
And
They were interested in magic.
yes, it could even be an option for Gesma to learn a few things from them. Perhaps she will one day join the coven herself, depending on their interest in it, of course. But yes, every time of this time of the season, there is a certain individual who pops up, every couple of seasons rather, and puts on quite the show. I'm sure the children would love it, and it would be a great way to help settle them into the place.
What kind of show?
She pulls her hat down and rifles a thin hand with long fingers through it. You see her pull out what looks like a chicken bone and throw it across the hallway floor. She rifles through, and pulling it out, she hands unraveling a flyer out in front of you, and it reads, Mr. Bones Big Top Euphoria. Come all. Clowns, attractions, games, and free sweet milk.
No.
What?
And that
No.
is where we will end this session.
Pull out my laser rifle and point it at her. Did you say clowns?
Don't send me the clowns.
Wow.
Everyone's hatred of milk will come to fruition for a spooky night next session for a Halloween-themed adventure.
Wow. It'll be fun.
You guys, it was some interesting turn of events. That was a really great session. I liked it. So yeah, I will have Luke back next session, and we'll go on a fun romp. So I appreciate. Did you guys all have fun that session?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. We had some sessions where there was some long extended combat, so this one literally had no combat at all. It's nice.
It was nice.
Where's Udok?
I don't know.
We'll find him in time.
No, he's chilling with what's his name? Cregan.
Kraken's a better guy than Udok.
Before we exit space, I happen to have inspiration that wasn't used, and there happens to be a special man waiting for me in Flavortown that could use. So maybe before we head down to creepy milk clownville, could by next game, could I have a drink ready?
Let's just really quickly, before we close things out, take a look at Dripple D's abilities. Funkalicious Refreshment. By spending his inspiration along with 10 gold pieces for the necessary ingredients, Triple D can craft a magical concoction by spending 1 hour in a tavern, including the geodesic ships. The magic brew created is random, though Triple D can give a vague hint as to its effects. A successful investigation check or identify spell will reveal the full effects of the drink. The brew is generally alcoholic and treated as a common magic item that anyone can carry, though its magical effects only last for 24 hours. So yes, he'll take your gold coins and inspiration, and before you guys set off on this next adventure, before you depart from the ship to head on to the surface of Udu, he will have this concoction ready for you, Rincaz. So just remind me next session, and you'll find out what he's brewed for you before we begin.
He determines what I drink next week. Will it be alcoholic, or will I just drink milk like everyone else?
Oh,
There'll be plenty of delicious, sweet-tasting milk for everyone involved. Don't worry about that. I'm glad you guys had fun. Thank you for playing with me tonight. Next week should be a lot of fun. thank you everybody who's stopped in to watch this madness. Thank you all, Alfred. Thank you, another TV viewer. Thank you, robots like Commander Root, probably Electrical Longboard. Thank you, Genghis John, for sticking with us and chatting with us and being active. That's really nice of you. Hey, if you guys follow, I believe you may have already followed Genghis John. If not, you should just punch the follow button. You just get an immediate number of points to spend on stuff like inspiration for the party or other things like buying your own cool little avatar. You can hold on to those points too, and if you wait till next week during the session, all of our spooky little avatars that you see at the bottom, like ghosts and skeletons and stuff like that, will be half price. So keep an eye out on that, and you can go ahead and just punch follow, and that'll give you an immediate number of points. You can see all those details down below on our Twitch. So I appreciate it. Husband and wife stream, of course, go check them out. They're a really cool stream with Rincaz /husband/Slim/Brian, who kind of heads that over with wife. And they do all kinds of cool stuff. They paint minis and play games. And is it cross stitching? Is that what the wife does?
Correct.
Cool. Yeah, she does a whole bunch of cool stuff. It's a really cool stream to just go chill out in, and so go check them out. Thank you, Lurks. Thank you, T-Bird, V&K, Virgo Pros. I appreciate you all checking in, whether you're robots or not. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just glad you're here. If you missed any of this episode or want to watch any of the others, we have the VODs both on Twitch and our YouTube. You just punch in GAWD_mode or the Wyrd and Wyld title, and they'll pull up eventually. And yes, if you want to see any details of the stuff you get from building up points from watching, just check the details down below. You're also, keep in mind, building up channel points, which is separate, which we'll be moving to eventually. So at the bottom of the chat box on the left side, you'll see the little picture that Bay was able to provide us for our official art for the Wyrd Bits, and click on that and you'll see all kinds of cool stuff that you can buy, from highlighting one of your messages to unlocking emotes yourself to cool stuff like giving a player a +1 to their roll, unlocking a stream avatar, giving a player a boon that they can have for a full session. If you build up enough points, you can even summon the Wyrd.
Ooh-hoo-hoo!
All kinds of cool stuff, naming an NPC, so check that out. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff, and I appreciate you guys for stopping in. So we will be back next week. Before I go, though, I want to pass it along to you all. This will be something we have to obviously ask Luke too, but how do you guys feel about, instead of a 9 to 12 session, because it's a special Halloween fun time, we do 8:30 to 12:30, making it a 4-hour session?
I don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. Does anyone have any issues with that, or is everyone on board?
I'm good for it.
I mean, so long as I can stay awake, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I tried to do like 8:30 to 12. Hopefully that works for Luke, but that way it's not running too late, so we're not trying to keep you too much up, Kyle. But if you need to jump out, then of course, don't feel bad. Just head out whenever you need to. Kevin, does that work for you? Oh no, he's napping. Sun Kong is exhausted.
Oh.
Song's meditating.
He's in the Munkin place. Well, I'll run a poll and make sure it's fine with everybody, because we have to ask Luke too. But yes, just for those watching, if you're interested in hanging out with us next week, we may actually do it a little earlier. I'll hit it up on the Twitch and let you guys know. So we'll probably be doing it 8:30 to 12:30. Keep an eye out for that. Thank you again, League of Explorers, for dropping in and for the bits. That was really nice of you. I really appreciate it. And go check out his channel. It's actually really cool. They do a TTRPG that's like a weird Western style. That's really cool, called Deadlands. So check them out. But yeah, we'll be back next week for fun Halloween times, even though it's on the 1st of the next month. That, Thursday. Yeah, it's close. So fuck it. So I appreciate you all for stopping in. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.